to speak and write about that at all.
Yes. So one thing that cannabis has helped me with is pain management, and I've heard success stories for people who have managed things like rheumatoid arthritis. So I think that it's important to realize that cannabis isn't necessarily a cure, but with lifestyle change and addressing what triggers are, it can definitely add comfort and be something to relieve your symptoms.
So one of the things that we teach about is how it's a holistic lifestyle and how cannabis really helps like open a window to you really assessing your entire lifestyle. What you eating, are you drinking enough water? Are you just doing the basic things that you should do to take care of yourself? And then we've seen, not only just with PTSD, but clients that we've been able to help cancer and things that we suffer from in our community, like diabetes and high blood pressure and sickle cell, Crohn's, different things like that. Cannabis has been able to either drastically relieve. I'm talking about 86% of patients drastically say it relieves symptoms. 62% of physicians say they saw an improvement in their patients. So it's not something that we're making up, and it's not a placebo. So the things that we suffer from in our community, it's really been able to help us with, especially with diabetes and getting, your foot chopped off because of a cut in your foot, just different things that we suffer from. So it's a holistic lifestyle that we use it for now.
Not just this.
And can I just say, and there's, care and consideration to be taken in that. So like, let's just say someone does have high blood pressure and they're on lisinopril every day and they decide they want to begin consuming cannabis to address their hypertension. They need to be mindful that cannabis will decrease your blood pressure. And so if you're, if you want to be mindful how you taper yourself onto cannabis and how titrate yourself onto cannabis and how you taper yourself off of your everyday medications that you're taking for chronic illnesses, and make sure you're talking to your doctor. And if your doctor is not knowledgeable, then you all start building that relationship. I was on a panel with Dr. Rachel Knopf, and she was like, so she's a doctor, so she was giving people suggestions on how to engage a doctor that maybe isn't that knowledgeable about that. Instead of saying, hey doctor, you so stupid, you ain't even do your research, look what I found. Say, doctor, I found this research about hypertension and cannabis, and I wanted to know if you could take a look and tell me what you think. And so you might have to engage with them in that way, but be very mindful. Yes, cannabis does great things, and one of the things is a vasodilator, so it causes.
That's exactly what I wanted to touch on. I mean, honestly, these conversations, just as far as transitioning, we've had conversations with boomers. We had a series, and talking about transitioning from other types of medications into cannabis. And one, I would like to know how do you kind of structure those conversations to make them effective with maybe a parent or a grandparent who is just hesitant and believes everything that the doctor says, but there's all of the science that can support them effectively, leaving those medications behind. How do you have those types of conversations, and are there any kind of strategies that people should use in having this?
One of the wonderful tools that we have now with Department of Health is that they have these modules, CMEs, continuing medical education. It's something that doctors have to do. They swore an oath to continue to educate themselves. You can't argue with science. You have to inform yourself. So if they are not informed, that is what you say. They have a module. They have 3 cannabis modules. One, Department of Health, that the doctor needs to educate themselves on, one of which is specifically about, it's the title, the efficacy of cannabis. So they need to do this. They must do this. And once you have told them about this, now they're willfully ignorant, and you have a base to actually make complaints about this doctor with. But that's my piece. Understanding the language and inviting them to inform themselves in the mechanism that they know their license requires them to do.
For my little old ladies, and my older folks, I ease them into cannabis. Topicals are the key. You rub a little salve on an old lady's aching arthritic knees, and by the end of the night, she's going, you got some more of that?
Yes, right.
Senior center during bingo that she had this cream.
You're right.
All calling me, trying to get my cream. And then that begins the conversation. We want to know how that cream works. Well, that
Right.
cream works because you have endocannabinoids.
It's in your system.
And
Right.
then she's like, oh, and telling her girlfriends all this. And so that's one way to start a conversation with people who, you shouldn't just be rubbing on old ladies. But if they give you permission, rub it on it.
My challenge, once again, was with doctors, because of course, how dare I come in here and challenge them and say, hey, and when you pull out CBD, when they're still trying to write scripts. It was very, very hard to even try to convince MD that a woman that has knows anything about pot, that's pot. They never even went to school to know that there is an endocannabinoid system. So in actuality, they need a refund or partial of that tuition, But what I did was she played dumb to the game when I was really strong into going to medicate. So it was easy. So I go, I get it, bring it back, and after that month, and Zoe followed up, I was like, this is what I heard. She was like, you really weren't playing. Well, how was she doing? And I was like, her onset seizures don't exist anymore. It's only been a month. And I'm really seeing a good, pattern of how she's decreasing. I am trying to slowly wean her off all this shit she have her on. And I know that is a process in itself. But Zoe is now 2 years pharmaceutical free.
Yeah.
She actually flew out to Colorado a month later and did a sneak peek to Epidiolex Farms. And she came back, so now I have a little board helping other moms.
It's been a matter of voicing the information I have as many times to as many people as I can. And I will say that over the years, this has paid off tremendously. I have my grandmother who's very Catholic and very opposed to a lot of things, including call me and tell me how excited she is about the fact that I'm working as industry. And she might not have heard me like the first 1,000 times, but because I've been able to speak to so many people, other people are speaking about it as well. She accepts it.
Yes, her grandmother just totally is enamored by her granddaughter, so that's good stuff.
Yeah, it was a process, so just patience and just opening the conversation to all of your different circles of people that you may not think are hearing you. When they hear it from someone else, they'll remember who they heard it from.
So for me, I try to educate veterans on natural alternatives like cannabis, but we also talk about fitness and yoga, and we talk about all the natural alternatives. And for us, it was difficult because veterans are all about sticking to the rules. We abide by the rules. We do not break the law. We don't do any of those things. And so once I found a community of veterans out on the West Coast, honestly, we were able to help me understand this was not a bad thing. This was something, because I was self-medicating for years and didn't know that that's what I was doing, that this was helping me, but I didn't know why or how. And so it wasn't until I got around a group of other individuals like myself who were more educated than I was, who could help not only explain to me, but explain to me how to talk to others about this. And so now I'm unapologetic about my use of drugs. I know it's worked for me. I know it's helped me. I know a gang of other people that it's worked for, and they not lying either. And so, we're gonna come around when we come around. But at this point in time, I am shouting it from the rooftops, and just because I'm saying it doesn't mean other people aren't doing it. I've consumed with the best of them here in DC, matter of fact. So it's like people are doing it. You just have to be comfortable enough to say it. And so I do.
Right.
I completely agree. So let's talk about potential penalties. You have medical cannabis patients, and there's concerns about jobs. There's concerns about community, the way people look at them. How are there penalties? what are those penalties, and how can people combat those and deal with those?
Well, as a native Washingtonian, we have a very special conundrum here in this non-state federal land.
Right, that's a conundrum right there.
So, legal how in
Right.
federal land where it's federally illegal? That's all I can really say. It's a conundrum.
It's backwards.
It's a conundrum. It is a conundrum. Yes, if you have a federal job, you probably will get fired. Yes, they're still getting people caught up with CBD that's sold at CVS that you taken and can't work for Metro no more. That is happening. Law cases are pending.
Wow.
Advocate. I cannot stress the importance of advocacy. If you are silent, they will assume you are enjoying this defeat. Everybody has to speak up.
Yes. Yes.
In the state of Connecticut, if you have a medical cannabis card, if you're certified for medical cannabis, you have certain levels of protection for employment. So as long as you don't have a federal job, and even some transportation jobs are a little funny, but as long as you don't have a federal job, you cannot be fired because of cannabis consumption unless it's proven that you consumed on work premises where that is not allowed. So you can't just do anything. Say, hey, I got a card. But you have certain levels of protection. We already had a precedented case in Connecticut. And I always counsel people when they come in, they'll try to do you dirty, regardless of whether you have a card or not. So you have to know the law. So, like for instance, if you apply for a job and are offered employment, so they have now said, yes, we'd like to offer you this job, go for drug testing. That's when you should go for drug testing and then present your card to the drug testing facility. And then they have to now change your positive to a negative when they report it to the employer. But if you have not been offered the position, do not go and take the drug test until you receive an offer. Because before you receive an offer, they can say, oh, we changed our mind. They can do whatever. Because even the drug testing facilities that are supposed to mark you, say that you are now negative, they have ways of letting your employer still know you were positive, like saying, well, maybe this person needs a fit for duty test. And so that lets the employer know there's something going on. So don't even submit or talk about a drug test until you get a job offer. So that's a little bit of the guidance I give to patients who come to see us.
Here in Washington, D.C., children like my daughter can't medicate on public school grounds. They also can't medicate on charter school grounds. Well, on September 4th, I took my daughter to school, and they told me that unless I brought my daughter a diazepam or Diastat, she could not come back to school. You do remember I was telling you guys about the diazepam being a barbiturate that makes my daughter suicidal. Those are my only two alternatives. If you do not bring her diazepam or Diastat, she cannot come back to school. Then there were 2 police officers there and some other things. The sad thing about it is, for 3.5 years, I've trained my child, do not tell anyone that you take medication. Do not disclose it to your friends. Don't tell it to the teacher. Nobody needs to know. Don't tell them we grow. So at 9 years old, she's walking around with all these fucking silent secrets that she shouldn't have been kept a secret. Well, I left there and I was really baffled because what am I going to do? I couldn't disclose to the school that her only rescue medicine would be something comparable in cannabis, like possibly an inhaler or a THC. So I got mad. I sat down, thought about it, and I got strong. And I reached out to Congress. I reached out to DC Council. I reached out to the mayor's office. And on Tuesday of this week, they allowed legalization. So I'm really, really be happy about that, but then it was bittersweet because Zoe